On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, South Korea is investing $5 billion in U.S. shipbuilding. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to today's episode. So yesterday, August 26, 2025, up at the Hanwha Shipyard in Philadelphia, they had the commissioning for the third national security multi-mission vessel. That is the training ship State of Maine. That is Elaine Chao, former Secretary of Transportation during the first Trump administration, doing the honors, putting into service the vessel. Now, State of Maine is the third in the class of 5 vessels. The first one went to the finest maritime academy in the world, the first and foremost, New York Maritime College. Second one went to Massachusetts Maritime. Third one goes to Maine. The fourth one is heading down to Texas. And the fifth is going to the West Coast over to California. But it was during the commissioning and christening of this vessel that the South Koreans, while attending, by the way, the president of South Korea was at this event, announced a decision by Hanwha to commit $5 billion into U.S. shipbuilding. We're going to look at all of this, break it down for you, and what it means going forward, and why is it Korea investing in U.S. shipbuilding. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. Here's a story by Mike Schuller over at G-Captain. The State of Maine, third of the national security multi-mission vessels, entered the fleet. The ship, $350 million, serves a dual purpose as for training future mariners while standing ready for humanitarian missions. The South Korean president, Lee Jae-myung, and acting maritime administrator Sang Yi shared remarks during the ceremony. It is the latter, Sang Yi's remarks, I want to focus on because he made some great ones there during the event.
And this ship represents a lot more than just steel and engineering. It stands as a symbol of American commitment to dominance, economic strength, and national readiness. The State of Maine, we're not just launching a vessel. We're launching opportunities. Opportunities for cadets at Maine Maritime Academy to train on state-of-the-art equipment, opportunities to rapidly respond to humanitarian crises, and opportunities to restore American leadership in shipbuilding and sea power. The Department of Transportation and Merit are proud to lead this effort. Using the innovative vessel construction management model, we've delivered this ship with just less than 30 change orders. That's almost unheard of in shipbuilding, especially in government shipbuilding. That efficiency has saved taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars and years of time. This is how we rebuild an industry, by unleashing innovation, cutting red tape, making smart investments, and forging strong partnerships.
So Sang Yi is the acting maritime administrator. The current maritime administrator is still waiting for a hearing. We're on our second appointee at this point. No telling when we're going to get a confirmation hearing. But I will say Sang Yi has been absolutely out in front, more vocal, more in person than I've seen of many maritime administrators. And most importantly, this change really represents a potential, evolution we're seeing in U.S. shipbuilding. This image right here kind of encapsulates that. Here you see the new State of Maine to the left, and then the old State of Maine in the background. That is a former military Sealift Command survey vessel, the USNS Tanner. It's going out of service, and it's being replaced by this new state-of-the-art vessel. It is very innovative, and one of the things I think that we're seeing is that this is being done in partnership, not just with the United States, but South Korea. The fact that the South Korean president was there is no mistake. Let's be clear. South Korea is investing in U.S. shipbuilding, but the question is why? Why is South Korea doing this, and what does it mean going forward? So there's another story by Mike Schuller over at G-Captain. So as we're having the announcement for the christening, we have Hanwha announcing that their U.S. subsidiary has placed orders for 10 Jones Act compliant medium range oil and chemical tankers from the Hanwha Philly shipyard, with the first vessel expected for delivery in early 2029. The company has also exercised an option for a second liquefied natural gas carrier. That's following on last month's contract for the first U.S. LNG carrier in almost 5 decades. Now, at this event, we had the South Korean president, but we also had the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, was there. And this comes on the heels of a summit talk between President Lee and President Trump on Monday. And this is all part of a larger commitment by South Korea to contribute $150 billion to revitalizing U.S. shipbuilding. Now, you got to be asking, is like, wait a minute, why is South Korea so big to revitalize U.S. shipbuilding? Well, it's easy to understand once you look at what is happening to South Korean shipbuilding. So back in December, Hanwha completed its $100 million acquisition of the Philly Shipyard. Philly Shipyard, by the way, has gone through several hands over the years. It's the former Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, a portion of it, in particular the 2 big dry docks where the Montana-class battleships were supposed to be built. But here we see Hanwha buying in. You see these statements here. David Kim, the former executive vice president of Hanwha Defense, who was appointed CEO, said this: "We plan to grow and build on a long tradition of success by expanding production using advanced technologies and supporting the national revitalization of U.S. shipyards." Remember, this is before Donald Trump became president, but it was after the election. Meanwhile, over in South Korea, you have this one from March, a significant milestone for South Korea's maritime industry. Hanwha Ocean successfully completed maintenance and overhaul work on Military Seal of Command's dry cargo ship USNS Wally Schirra. The project spanned 6 months and encompassed hull and engine repairs, major equipment inspections and replacement, systems upgrade, including the replacement of the stern rudder. Now, overseas maintenance on vessels is not unusual. We've seen it done in the past, but this was a fairly extensive one. Again, replacing the entire rudder assembly. South Korea is also making a pitch to offer replacement cranes for the United States. These are the big ship-to-shore cranes that came under a lot of targeting by the U.S. Trade Representative. Jameson Greer met with 2 company CEOs out in Korea back in May to discuss this about rebuilding the U.S. shipbuilding industry and to replace the port cranes. A lot of these are what's known as ZPMC. That is the company in China that builds these cranes. There's a big effort to try to get China out of the maritime infrastructure in the United States. Now, Hanwha isn't just looking at the Philly shipyard. Back in June, Hanwha Group received clearance from the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States to increase its shareholding in Australian shipbuilder Austal Limited up to 100%, marking a significant milestone. The company currently holds a 9.9% stake in Austal, acquired back in March of 2025. It plans to increase this to 19.9%. Austal's U.S.-based subsidiary, Austal USA, is a major U.S. shipbuilder and defense contractor. Austal is down in Mobile, Alabama. They had built the Independence-class littoral combat ship. They built the Spearhead-class fast transports. They have multiple U.S. government contracts right now to build vessels for the U.S. Navy, for the Military Seal of Command. There's a ton of contracts sitting in Austal right now. And here we see Hanwha getting into that area. Now, it is not just Hanwha that's involved with this. Back in April, HII, this is Huntington Ingalls, they operate the shipyards in Newport News and Pascagoula. Them and HD Hyundai Heavy Industries signed a memorandum of understanding to boost collaboration on military and commercial shipbuilding. The agreement represents a concrete step towards strengthening the maritime industrial bases of both countries. According to Brian Planchette, the HII executive vice president and president of Ingalls Shipbuilding, he said, "Today's agreement reflects our commitment to explore all opportunities to expand U.S. shipbuilding capacity in support of national security by working with our shipbuilding allies and sharing best practices. We believe this MOU offers real potential to help accelerate delivery of quality ship." Then in August, we have this: Cerberus Capital Management and Hyundai announced today a strategic partnership to launch Cerberus Maritime, a new investment strategy aimed at rebuilding the United States maritime industrial base. The partnership aligns with U.S. government's broader efforts to revitalize domestic maritime capabilities. This comes after President Trump's executive order restoring America's maritime dominance. HD Hyundai, one of the largest shipbuilders, will serve as an anchor investor to the strategy while also providing technical expertise in shipbuilding, marine engineering, and digital maritime solutions. Cerberus is one of many companies looking to get into constructing vessels for the U.S. Navy, and particularly autonomous vessels. These are unmanned vessels or minimally crewed vessels for the U.S. Navy. This is the big thing that the U.S. Navy is investigating. I have my criticisms of autonomous unmanned vessels because I think we just need to be building boats, and the autonomy adds a new layer on top of that. I think that it's an issue that we can deal with at another time. But what's interesting to see here is that Hyundai is getting more wrapped up into U.S. shipbuilding. Then, as noted earlier, Hanwha is already announcing that they're going to build liquefied natural gas carriers, LNGs, in the United States. This is a big issue. They're talking about reflagging LNGs into the U.S. fleet so that we can get U.S. flagged liquefied natural gas carriers hauling liquefied natural gas overseas. One of the issues in the President Executive Order and also in the SHIPS Act is a plan to start requiring, under basically cargo preference, that a certain percentage of U.S. exports be hauled on U.S. ships. Those ships do not have to be U.S. built to be engaged in the international trade, so you can reflag in the vessels. The issue is going to be the higher operating costs for American crews and American companies. How do you offset that? We traditionally offset that with the Maritime Security Program, a subsidy for ship operations. And subsidies are not unusual in shipping. We see it done in Korea, Japan, and China when it comes to shipbuilding, either direct or indirect subsidies. And not wanting to be left out in the cold, Samsung has made an agreement with Vigor. Vigor is a big repair facility company in the United States. This collaboration aims to deliver expanded forward deployed maintenance, repair, and overhaul capacity, targeting at increased fleet availability for the U.S. Navy and the Military Sealift Command. It's going to be a strategic alliance, and the goal here is to increase the potential for repair capabilities for the United States. Right now, repairing in the United States is at a premium because of ship repair capability, space, personnel, and if you can expand that overseas, that increases your ability. If you can do some of those repairs like was done with the Wally Schirra over in Korea, then you can keep ships forward deployed and get the repair work done. And then in the midst of all these stories, this one slides in. South Korea's top shipbuilder consolidates ahead of the MASGA push. So MASGA, this is another acronym. This is something that Korea has put together, Make America Shipbuilding Great Again. So South Korea's HD Hyundai Heavy Industries, the world's biggest shipbuilder, said on Wednesday that it plans to merge with its affiliate HD Hyundai Mipo as it targets a bigger slice of the U.S. shipbuilding market. This goes from a statement from HD Hyundai Heavy ahead of the full-scale launch of the MASGA project following the Korea-U.S. summit. And as countries around the world are strengthening naval power, demand for K-defense is expected to increase further. The company aims to quickly seize opportunities in the rapidly growing global defense market. As South Korea's top builder of naval ships, Hyundai wants to combine its expertise and technologies in the field with MIPO's dock facilities and skilled workers. I'm not sure they're the biggest shipbuilder in the world, by the way, because China has just recently consolidated two of their big shipyards together. But this is the issue that's at play here, is that Korea is under a lot of pressure at home for shipbuilding. So let's take a look at the data here. So this is from BRS Shipbrokers. They do their annual report. I do a video on this every year. I want to highlight to you this issue. So this is their section on shipbuilding. It talks about China's increase in dominance. When you look at the growth from 2022 to 2024, one of the things you see is orders are increasing, deliveries are increasing, the order book is up. We're seeing a growth of the active fleet, and then the order book as a percentage of the active fleet is growing. But look over here at where those ships are being ordered. In 2022, China had 51.5%. 2024, 67.3%. It is increased, taking a 16% share of world trade in 2 years. Where has that 16% come from? Well, South Korea went from 27.5% down to 17%. They lost 10.5%. Japan, 16.1% down to 11.1%. They lost 5%. So basically, Europe's down to 1.1. Even the rest of the world is down. China is becoming the world shipbuilder and at a large, fast pace. There's no fear of China, of South Korea not being shipbuilding. They're going to do shipbuilding, but they are definitely losing their market share. What's interesting when you look at the numbers even a little bit further, it is the growth that China is grabbing. So if you look at South Korean numbers again here, yeah, they dropped nearly 10.5%. But look at the data. The deadweight tonnage is about the same. The number of ships has actually grown. And in the case of Japan, they have actually gone up in both deadweight tonnage and ships. What China is capturing is the new builds. Their deadweight tonnage has over doubled. And in terms of number of ships, it's gone from over 2,000 ships to almost 3,400 ships. They are grabbing those new markets. They're grabbing the new ships that are out there. And this is what South Korea is worried about. Even if they just maintain themselves, they are losing percentage share. So they've got to go look for new markets and grab new share. And the American market is a good one to grab because it's going to take years to get the American shipbuilding up. Remember, they talked about the first of 10 Jones Act tankers don't arrive till 2029. 2025 right now, people. So we're talking 4 years. And that's because Philly is busy. They're finishing the last 2 of the national security multi-mission vessels. They're building 3 Matson container ships. Those tankers are going to be coming online here in the next about year or 2. They're going to start cutting steel and working on them. It'll still take 2 years to build them once they get the steel cut. So that's why you're not going to see it till about 2029, because it'll be 2027 before they can get them going. That is key. They've got to get this up. And remember, the only way you're going to start building more ships in the United States is to start building ships. And this is the first step. It's got to be more than Philly Shipyard, Bud, because Philly by itself cannot do it. We need to see that expand. We need to see shipbuilding down at NASCO, down at Amphels, at Brownsville, maybe down in Pascagoula, maybe a new yard open up somewhere out in a field, you know, these new greenfield evolutions, either in California, Florida, Gulf Coast, southeast part of the United States. Definitely have to see it. But this is the key. Korea is investing in U.S. shipbuilding because it helps Korean shipbuilding. And we should be aware of that, because when it becomes a choice between Korean shipbuilding and U.S. shipbuilding, they're going to choose Korea. And we need to be aware of that. And that's why we need to build up the industrial base here in the United States. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment, share it across social media, and if you can, support the page. How do you do that? You hit the super thanks button down below or head on over to Patreon, where you become a monthly, yearly subscriber. Unfortunately, I was invited to be up at the Philly Shipyard yesterday for the christening of the state of Maine. I just unfortunately couldn't do it. It's our first full week of school here at Campbell University. I'm chair of my department. I kind of have to be here. I've got classes, and I'm going to be doing quite a bit of traveling coming up here over the course of the semester. So it's hard to get away for a day. I really hate not being up there. The deputy administrator, Sang Yi, invited me up there. It was really nice of him to do that. I hope to get up there for the next christening, which is going to be the Texas training ship, and at the very least to be there for California. Can't help but note, my alma mater, Maritime College, did invite me up there for the first one. I haven't even been up on the new training ship yet. What's going on, New York Maritime? Am I not one of your favorite alumni? I guess not. Until our next episode, this is Sal, signing off.